fellow countrymen and women. This is an address on behalf of the family of President Edgar Lungu, the 6th Republican President of the Republic of Zambia. Between yesterday and today, we have had occasion to meet the government of the Republic of Zambia, represented by Honorable Mulambo Haimbe. In our meetings, they requested to hear what the position of the family was as regards how the mortal remains of our former president will be dealt with. In dealing with this subject matter, a position was presented to the government of the Republic of Zambia. The position being that the family wished to respect the wishes of the former president of the Republic of Zambia. And the respect that has been accorded to him, as he wished could be accorded to him, was that he be buried in Zambia. And in being buried in Zambia, he took cognizance of the fact that he served the country faithfully and diligently, putting aside personal ones and putting the country back on a trajectory of development. Hence, the massive infrastructure development that he oversaw being undertaken in the country. And as such, he would not take away the reason, or rather the obligation of every Zambian, or the desire of every Zambian to mourn him with dignity. And as such, President Edgar Lungu deserves the honors of being buried with the dignity that will be accorded to him by the Zambians. Through all this, he was cognizant to the fact that the government, under the watch of President Hakainde Hichilema, did not treat him as it ought to have. Sometime in 2022, he requested to travel for medicals in South Africa. The state rejected that request. That request was re-emphasized in 2023. The state responded by stating that it had no resources. In his response to the state, he stated that he would use his own resources. The state responded in a letter dated the 7th of September 2023, stating that his request was denied, notwithstanding that the said travel was not for leisure or business, but for his health to be attended to. It should be known that at any given time, the state was aware of the ailment of President Edgar Lungu, having served in State House, and thereafter being former president, they knew what his condition was. Despite all that knowledge that they had, they still refused to allow him to travel. Fellow countrymen and women, you will note that at the time these entitlements were being denied him, he hadn't returned to active politics. He was still receiving other entitlements, such as a pay that is due to a former head of state. But as regards his health and his movement, those were heavily restricted by the state. In 2025, when the ailment exceeded and doctors traveled into Zambia, checked on him and advised that he should come to South Africa, that time he had seized, or government had withdrawn all his privileges, and he traveled as an ordinary citizen. And he only booked a last-minute ticket was at the airport for purposes of not allowing the state to have enough time to connive and stop him. He arrived at the airport 30 minutes before boarding and eventually boarded. Those that dared to give him courtesies at the airport have since been fired. In our meeting with the state today, we made it open and clear that the family is not averse to certain privileges, though having been taken away from him, to be accorded to him as he earns them. Fellow countrymen and women, you will note that upon his travel, doctors in South Africa did express a concern to say that had he traveled earlier, they could have made certain interventions that would have served him well. And this would not be the discussion today. However, they proceeded to take measures that were necessary to sustain him and to remedy or rather issue or transact remedial measures to enable him be well again. Unfortunately, on Thursday, he succumbed. And having succumbed, the family has since been meeting and discussing. The government has come in hoping to offer their courtesies. Courtesies which are appreciated. However, certain aspects of the courtesies, the family thought it would be a dishonor to President Edgar Chagwa for his remains to be repatriated to Zambia by the government of the Republic of Zambia. Hence, arrangements were made for purposes of private repatriation from South Africa into Zambia, with the state playing its role upon the body arriving in Zambia. That has been and is the wish of the family. President Edgar Chagwa was cognizant of the mistreatment that he underwent under this government. He was cognizant of the desire that he should not be involved in politics at any given time. But he thought that his health superseded all the other political considerations of this government. And it is the position of the family that he be honored to travel back to Zambia in the manner that he left Zambia, in his private capacity, and return in his private capacity. Whilst he was in South Africa, and his travel to South Africa was by well wishes. His by well wishes. And his travel has since been arranged by well wishes. The state has opted, desire that he be flown into the country privately, with them taking over the processes from the airport. A position which goes against the desires of President Edgar Chagwa himself and the family. It is not their desire to deny the Zambian people from mourning President Edgar Chagwa. Their only desire is to honor his wishes, that in the same manner that he came to South Africa to seek medical attention, be the same manner he is taken into Zambia with all accolades being offered to him upon arrival in Zambia for the benefit of the Zambian people, as he was a statesman. With that, our engagement with the government today has fallen on deaf ears. The government has come with a position of imposing themselves on the ceremonial issues that relate to President Edgar Chagwa. The family has given a view as to how they would desire the processes to be, who the celebrant of the funeral should be, where the funeral should be held, in agreement with the government. The desires of President Edgar Chagwa will not be taken away. Issues relating to his faith will not be taken away. The state will not impose faith or anything else on the desires, against the desires of President Edgar Chagwa and his family. It is for this reason that the family has reached a stalemate with the state, as the state desires to impose its will on how the mortal remains of the former president will be dealt with. For this reason, the family has resolved that they will handle the processes on their own. And those that are willing to mourn him will mourn him in regard of the desires of President Edgar Chagwa himself and the family. As the family mourns, they call for unity, they call for sobriety, they call for introspection, that this should not be a cause for division, but should be a cause for unity. And as such, any imposition from the government that goes against the desires of the family will not be accepted. However, we remain amenable to a win-win situation that accommodates all the views of the stakeholders involved. I thank you.
Maybe go in the car.
No, it's just short.
We are going to the residence. Okay. We are going to the residence. I will be in the president's car.
Okay.
So you follow us.
My dear fellow members, my dear fellow mourners, nabwera kumuuzani kuti the unity and the love you are showing for Edgar Chagwa Lungu is being seen the whole world. Everyone is mourning with you. Onse bantu alira. Nifuna kumuuzani kuti our brothers and sisters in South Africa apempa banja kuti tupia president batu ikalibo bwera ku Zambia afuna nawo ankaina maliro ku South Africa. So azanka na church service ku South Africa. Pambuyo pake tizaziba siku limene azabwera mu Zambia. Koma between now and that time, tientipitilize kugwirizana, tientipitilize kulira mukolo watu, kulira president watu. Ndiponso please, tinakamba kale kuti the official mourning place ya President Edgar Chagwa Lungu is here. Before kunkala president wa Zambia, President Edgar Lungu was a member of PF. And pano ndiye pachimake cha PF. Vena ananitumira phone zulo, noniuza iya ipaja sipali bwino, pachepa, ninauza munganigwire nyumba nikafa. Mwamene mu nyumba muntanalu unkala nipewa zapangira maliro. And Edgar Chagwa Lungu, the only place he was feeling comfortable was either kunyumba kwake or ku office kwake. So he said tizalilira pano. Ananiuza boma kuti no paja ni pa town center pa Zankala Nkondo, ninauza kuti please he said tilira. Nampamvu zo tukwa na muntu tilibe. Nampamvu zo mmenya na muntu tilibe. So imwe baboma ingati mwaona kuti kuyomena funeta musokonezo, please endani mubasokonezi mubamange. Asatiletere musokonezo pano. Nkani nanifa kumuzani ya kuti abanja achita announce a few minutes ago anali pa social media. Honorable Makebi Zulu, flanked by Mwansa and flanked by Tasila Mwansa Lungu, wachita address ziko lonse. Notiuza kuti aboma ali ku South Africa anaye kuta mvane na abanja on how to handle the funeral. Abanja auza kuti a President Edgar Lungu anabwera ku South Africa weka. Yes. Yes. Bweleweka. So abanja akamba kuti imwe aboma chitane vemu chita hivyo but we are not part of it. Ise tifuna kulira muntu watu imwe simuliko ni muntu watu tizalira teka. So nizampe mpani kuti Central Committee mawa azanka na meeting pa 10 hours and then after that tizabwa tikamuze ni mwamene azavomekeza a central committee. Koma paka lipano we are still standing petinayamba pachiyambi kuti kulibe muntu azatipasa malo ena ya istifuna. Yes, nava kudya vankala vachichepere, but we don't care. We are calling upon our well-wishers atipaseko achite donate. Ingati nikugona na njala tizagawa na njala. Ndalama zao angasunge. So please tieni tilile president watu na chikondi. Mamwe mwachitira masiku haya, let us continue until the day when we put our president to rest. Chameni ngamuze ni chabe is that we are going to rise stronger. Ziko mkwambili ni zabwelanso kulikwina kwa itifunika kutifike, but all the leaders are with you. All the leaders are with us. Please tilile mwamtendele, continue to sing, continue to remember President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Viza konkapo tizamu zivisani.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mine is this side. You are in the pickup, isn't it?
Yeah.